Hi, everybody. Donna Terrell here, and welcome to Terrell Talk. You know what? We're doing things a little differently today. Instead of bringing on a guest, my producer, Ryan Tuberville, is always in this little studio with me. So I'll be talking with him a little bit and kind of going back and forth. But I want to talk about something that is so near and dear to me. And if you spend any time at all following me on social media or watching Fox 16 News at 5:30, 6:30, and 9, you know my story. I lost my daughter, my only child, to colon cancer in 2011. And it seems like I have spent this last, 15 years just trying to honor her legacy, but at the same time help other cancer patients that are out there so that maybe they don't have to go through all that we went through. And I know, Ryan, you have like my favorite picture, one of my favorite pictures. Anytime it's a picture of my daughter and me, it makes me happy. The sad thing about the pictures of my daughter and me, we don't have any new pictures. We can never update the pictures. So, we keep showing the same ones over and over, but thank God we have those. That is Quaya. What you saw there, go back to that. Yeah, that's Quaya. My heart. I was a teenager when she was born. We were very, very close. She stood by my side. She didn't have any other choice, but she stood by my side as I graduated from college and navigated this television career. And, a lot of people say, yeah, you two grew up together. And I guess maybe that's true. But what's really more true than that is she definitely knew I was her mom. Not her friend. I was her mom. But we had the greatest relationship. And then in 2011, as I said before, I lost her. And we can show some of the other pictures. But before she died, I became her caregiver because she was living down in Houston. She, had a career and was doing very well for herself. And cancer came. And so it got to a point where I really wanted to just nurse her back to health. And it turned into something that, she came to here to Little Rock and spent the last few years of her life. And I'm so blessed and grateful that I had that opportunity to take care of her in those last and final days. And the pictures that you're looking at, she is something else. That Salvation Army shirt, Ryan, I love the Salvation Army t-shirt. I still have that, and I wear it sometimes. But she would find these really unique clothes, and I still have some of those, and I can wear them. She had just gone through treatment, if you notice, on her left arm. On the right-hand side, she had something wrapped around it because she didn't have a port at the time. She was getting her infusions through her arm. Eventually, she got a port. But, Mommy was taking all of these pictures of her. This was down in Houston, and she's looking at me like, Mom, what are you doing? But anyway, you can scroll through some of the other ones. That was at MD Anderson. One of the things that they had at the time was, which I'm sure they still do, you could get chemo at midnight. Yeah. So she would go to work, and then I would go to her chemo with her because it was just really, really tough on her. But there she was in the bed. She wasn't getting chemo right there, but she was getting ready to get it. And what else we got that I can show people? When I was her caregiver, even before then, my daughter loved to travel. And so that is her with Chris, who lives in Australia, and Lisa, one of my daughter's best friends, traveled to Sydney, Australia, and you might recognize that bridge in the back. But Quaya was very sick. She was very sick then, but it didn't stop her. I mean, it was cancer really, it was tough for cancer to slow her down because if she wanted to go somewhere, she was going to go until her final days. But anyway, did we go through all the pictures? Oh, and this one, oh, yeah. So you can see the armband. That's where, she had a PICC line. And, she did have a port, but we had just finished treatment, and you see her there with a glass of wine, and you might even see my shadow in the window behind her. But I was just taking pictures. I would take as many pictures as I possibly could of my baby. Anyway, and that, go back to the other one. That was the very first treatment night at MD Anderson. So that was her second battle with cancer. The first battle, she was going to a different place, but when the cancer came back, we were at MD Anderson. So I think that's enough of that. Because if I talk about it anymore, Ryan, I'm going to get teary-eyed. So anyway, that said, it really led me, once she passed, to wanting to do something to honor her legacy. So in 2013, I started working on a nonprofit organization, creating one, and we became Donna Terrell's Yoga Warriors. We were fighting colon cancer at the time. So our logo said fighting colon cancer. In the last few years, we changed that because people would get confused. They would think that we only cater to people with colon cancer, and being that that's what took my daughter from me. It is important that we always talk to people about symptoms and signs of colon cancer, and to get screened. Get your colonoscopy. If you have a family history, you need to do it sooner than the designated time. But we took colon out of it because I wanted people to know that we don't discriminate when it comes to cancer. We hate all of them. So there you have it. But we're yoga warriors, and you can show the next one. We're yoga warriors because when she was at MD Anderson, they had a program for their patients and their caregivers to do yoga. And my daughter and I, we knew nothing about yoga. I mean, we had on street clothes and we thought we could just walk up in there and do yoga. And on that particular day, there was no yoga. But eventually, my daughter tried it, and I will never forget, because when she went there, I wasn't with her, but she called me. I was back here in Little Rock. She called me and she said, "Mom, I did yoga and it made me feel better." So that's why we became Yoga Warriors. And every year we would have this big community-wide yoga event. That's one of our better pictures. I have loved that picture forever. But basically, what we do is invite people to the DoubleTree Hotel. They would give us their big ballroom. And we would invite the community to come in and do yoga. They'd get valuable health information. We'd have raffle prizes, giveaways, and all sorts of things. It's a fundraiser, and to be honest with you, we never really raise a whole lot of money for this event, but I think it's more important to do goodwill and to offer people an outlet. Let them see what yoga is like. Let them hear about good health information, and walk away from the event feeling inspired and good. And so that's what that event is all about. I'm going to talk about that a little bit later. But the money that we did raise and do still raise would go to liquid nutritional supplements, because my daughter benefited from liquid nutritional supplements as she benefited from yoga, and yoga scholarships. So cancer patients and their caregivers, and I always include caregivers because having been one, I know what the stress is like. And I tell you what, it is very, 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 very stressful. And part of it is it kills you inside to watch this person go through such a horrible physical situation, health situation. But so I think caregivers need support just as much as patients do. But that's what we do. And so over the years, keep in mind, we started in 2014 with our first event. So over the years, we would give money to organizations that provide free lodging to cancer patients. And one of those is the Goodness Village. And so you might notice there, Kim Burkett and Jamie Gleason, the two ladies on the end, they have actually been on Terrell Talk. talking about Goodness Village and all that they do, which they're in Little Rock. They provide cancer patients from all over the country who need to come here to the various cancer treatment facilities. They provide them with not like rooms or hotel style rooms. These folks get to stay in apartments so entire families can be with their loved ones. It's a beautiful program that they have. But I think in that photo, it's kind of hard for me to see it, but I think that year we gave them $11,500. Is that what it is, Ryan? $11,500. So when I mentioned to you that our yoga fundraisers never really raised that much money. The event itself didn't, but we would certainly, my board members and I, we would get out there and we would raise funds so that we could support. And another one that we supported KARK. And you know what? I should have grabbed that picture with KARK. I don't know what I was thinking. We gave KARK lots of money through the years, but I do have a picture with a check. This one, though, that you're looking at here is the 20th Century Clubs Lodge, which that one was 10,000. Yeah, that's what I'm looking at there, 10,000. But, the last check that we gave them was for $25,000. So, this organization was rocking and rolling in terms of helping people. But I'm going to tell you this. When we gave that last check to 20th Century Clubs Lodge, it was around that time that I felt so inspired and so empowered by organizations in Little Rock that take care of cancer patients who need a place to stay so that they can get ongoing, continuous treatment, comprehensive treatment, that we decided to do something that I tell you, I don't think anyone saw it coming. But what we did was we created Warrior Lodge. We had a groundbreaking. We started with a groundbreaking. And some of the folks you see here, we partnered with Jefferson Regional in Pine Bluff and their Jones-Dunklin Cancer Center. And so some of those are board members, and you have the CEO, Brian Thomas, of Jefferson Regional, and Kathy Ross, who is she's on the very, very end, closest to me. She's the director of the Jones-Dunklin Cancer Center. And then sprinkled in there, you see the mayor of Pine Bluff, you see me, my husband, Dr. Kenneth Lambert, and several others. So I had some of my board members, and Jefferson had some of their people, and we brought dirt to the site, and we did our ceremonial groundbreaking. And then voila, coming soon. Voila, we get a sign that says coming soon. So we actually, for people who were really paying attention to this, we had to pivot because we were going to build a freestanding facility, and then it turned into basically revamping, if you will, or, coming in and gutting out a portion of the old school of nursing, the former school of nursing on the Jefferson Regional campus. And which, by the way, was probably the best idea we could have come up with, because this was a building that was just sitting there. And we went inside, we gutted that thing out. I'm going to tell you something. I could not envision. The first time I saw it, I could not envision what it would look like. But we have a construction video that I want to show you. Let's roll the tape. It has music with it, so I'm going to be quiet for a minute. Voila. That's it. And I tell you what, that video, when I look at that, it's just amazing. But I do need to thank a few people, and I also need to point out, I mentioned that it's the former School of Nursing. It's also the former Jewish temple. It was a Jewish temple before it became the School of Nursing. So it's very special to a lot of people in Pine Bluff. But Shayla Copa's Lifestyles, she is has given it the look and feel that you actually see. And Ryan, you can go ahead and put that up. You saw some appliances there, Metro Appliances. They donated all of our appliances. And look at this. Hank's Fine Furniture donated beds. Every room has 2 queen-size adjustable beds. And those headboards, we paid for those, but Justice Furniture, they gave us a break on it. I love that look. And that's all you're looking at right there are 2 mattresses on platforms, headboards, and then, of course, a desk and an armoire. And you can see part of the TV. Kudos to Walmart in Pine Bluff, because we got 5 TVs for a song. You know what, Ryan? This is the thing. When people realize you're really trying to help people and do something good, folks will want to help.
Good brings out good.
Good brings up good. Yeah, you didn't put yourself on there. You didn't. I didn't see you.
Oh.
I told Ryan. He doesn't really necessarily want to be
audio only.
Audio only. Thank you, Ryan. But I'm so appreciative, because obviously we're donor funded. I can't do this. I can't do this by myself in terms of raising funds. But I did mention that Jefferson, is a partnership. So Jefferson, in terms of the construction, the actual construction, they carry the lion's share. We contributed. We have naming rights, and it's a beautiful partnership. It's a very beautiful partnership. Speaking of which, just yesterday, we got our fence around the patio. Yay! I apologize that you can't see the whole thing, but I was grabbing pictures really, really fast. But I can tell you that little grassy area that you're looking at, we're going to put some gravel there. There's a gate right there, and that is where we're going to park our golf cart. We have a 4-seater golf cart that was donated to us, so we can have volunteers cart people back and forth, our cancer, we call them cancer guests. For Jones-Dunklin, they're cancer patients. But if they want to ride, we can give them a ride back and forth. But we're right across the street, and that makes it even better. And I wanted to also show you, when I was over there yesterday, after I was looking at the fence, I went back inside, and let's show them that video. I was walking down the hall. So this is the hallway after, like, when you leave the patio. And you go back inside. And what we're doing here is we're going to turn right there, and that takes you inside the great room. There's the kitchen on the right-hand side. I flipped the switch and I turned on the light in the great room. This used to be the sanctuary of the Jewish temple. This is where we're going to have our furniture. But look at this. It gives you a true feeling of a lodge because of all the beautiful wood. 22-foot ceilings. Yeah, you can let that roll again, just to kind of let it sink in. This place is so warm and inviting. I think our guests are going to be very, very happy there. Our furniture is almost here. The couch is en route as we speak, and we have some other furniture that's just waiting for us. It's in North Little Rock, but look at that. What do you think of that, Ryan?
I think I love the vaulted ceiling.
I know.
Yeah.
I know. It's just...
Yeah, that looks great. I love that.
Yeah. So imagine you can be sitting in there and, we can have bingo night for our cancer guests, and not just the folks who are staying with us, but any of the cancer patients at Jones-Dunklin, if they want to come for our bingo nights, or maybe movie nights, and things like that. We have an executive director in place now, Lauren Bland, and she's going to be spearheading a lot of those things. But Oh, I'm over here. Thank you.
sorry.
No, you're fine. She's going to be spearheading a lot of that. So, anyway, who will benefit from this? Not so long ago, I did a story on Thomas Kendricks, who lives in Crossett, Arkansas. He was driving 2 hours one way to come to get treatment at Jones-Dunklin, and then 2 hours back. There was nowhere for him to stay. There were times he said he didn't want to make the trip. It took so much out of him. But it's people like him that we're going to help. I want you to take a look at his story.
I thought it was over, you know. I just had gave up. And then I told myself I could do this. So I am doing it.
For Thomas Kendricks, doing it meant 28 rounds of radiation for prostate cancer 5 days a week. Every trip, a 2-hour drive each way between Pine Bluff and Crossett.
I get out from radiation, I drive back to Crossett. I had to stop about 5 or 6 times to use the bathroom. It was mind-boggling. It just made me some mornings just feel like just stopping and turn around.
But now, with drills buzzing and workers putting the finishing touches on drywall, Warrior Lodge at Jefferson Regional is close to completion. The soon-to-be no-cost temporary housing for cancer patients in treatment at Jones-Dunklin Cancer Center will help patients like Thomas. Kathy Ross heads up the cancer center.
So that means a lot, not only to those patients, but to their caregivers, because they themselves go through a lot of stress and anxiety when a loved one has this terrible diagnosis.
When completed, Warrior Lodge will have 4 private suites, a kitchen, living room, and other amenities. It's located on Jefferson Regional's campus, where patients are seen from a large area of southeast Arkansas. It's not uncommon to travel long distances and not uncommon to miss treatments because of it. Ross says it happens
a lot, every day from some of our patients.
And oncologist Dr. Asif Masood says that can lead to devastating consequences.
You're up against an evil enemy, and you punch him, you throw him down, but if you don't keep and finish the fight, your enemy will stand back up.
After driving back and forth for several weeks, Thomas gained access to Jefferson's one apartment that finally became available. A game changer.
Oh, felt relief, felt relief.
This more than 4,000 square foot Warrior Lodge in some cases will become a lifesaver, providing a chance to heal and eliminating the miles in between. And that's Thomas Kendrick's story. There are so many people like him who have to travel from southeast Arkansas, and they just need a little bit of help. You have some people who may not have to come 5 days a week like Thomas. They might only need to come 3 days a week. But still, to have to drive back and forth for some folks, it's grueling, it's difficult, and sometimes they miss treatment because of it. And we just want to help people so that won't happen. Why are we so connected to wanting to, create a facility such as this, like Warrior Lodge, offering a no-cost facility for our cancer guests who are in treatment? Because when my daughter was here in Little Rock and I was her caregiver, we had to travel out of state for treatment, and that service was provided to us. And I realize the value of it. I know we're not curing cancer. No, we're not. And when you think of a cancer diagnosis and all that people go through, it's a lot. But what we are doing is eliminating some of that burden and at least creating an environment where, people don't have to think about it. They don't have to think about where am I going to stay, or my goodness, I got to make this long drive, or I just don't feel like it. What's the worst that can happen if I don't go to treatment today and I go tomorrow instead? It's that kind of thing that we aim to really help people with, and I am grateful for all of the support we've had. An outpouring of donors. I mentioned the in-kind donations that we got, which is why I mentioned the names that I did, but there are so many people who have given us money to help us get to where we are today, and those donors will be recognized inside, outside as well. I can't go through all of the names right here, but we will, when you go inside Warrior Lodge, we will have this warrior wall that lists all of our donors. And there will be a tribute there to my daughter as well. But I thank the people who have supported us and believed in this vision. And Ryan, what I will say here is people believed in us before we had a building. Before we had anything. What they believed in was this desire, this feeling that I had that I wanted to see it happen. And they believed in our organization, Yoga Warriors Fighting Cancer. And now, Ryan, when they see that there's a building and, we're starting to get furniture and we have an executive director and we're going to hire more people and we're going to have volunteers, they see that the money that they've given us has been worth it.
And as long as I've known you, you've been the best champion of this.
Thank you.
Yes, it's since I got here.
Thank you.
I heard as soon as I met you, Donna Terrell's Warrior Lodge, or Yoga Warriors Fighting Cancer, and then the Warrior Lodge when that came along.
Yeah. The thing is, it's just been this strong desire, and I sort of equate it to this. I grew up in a Pentecostal church, and and I'm sure it's like this in many churches, but ministers would be called to preach, and some of them would talk about how they resisted it and they didn't want to do it and they kept struggling with it, but their soul couldn't rest until they finally gave in and did it. And that's kind of how I feel with this project. There have been times when I wanted to just say, okay, nope, not going to do it. But there's like this strong desire that just keeps pushing me. So anyway, I want to end this, but I do want everyone to know about our next event, which is Saturday, April 4th at the Doubletree Hotel. I showed you the photo, one of the photos from our event. We're at it again, and it's from 10 until 12. We ask people to bring their yoga mat. You'll be supporting cancer patients, not just in Jefferson County, but also in Little Rock, in Pulaski County, and throughout. So I hope you'll attend, and I hope you'll follow us. You can find us at yogawarriors.org and dtwarriorlodge.org. And I think Ryan is trying to wrap me up here. I've talked a lot. Well,
I've talked a little.
And you talked a little, but that's good. It was nice. This was fun. We'll have to do more of this. As always, I want to thank you so much for joining us for Terrell Talk. We'll be back again next week, and I guess I'll have a guest with me. But Ryan, you've been great. So long, everybody.
You've been great.
Thank you.